Thank you for joining Cooper Middle School's Level 4 team for this presentation on Beyond Academics, Meeting the Social and Emotional Needs of Gifted Learners. At Cooper Middle School, our mission focuses on the nurturing and preparation of our students, helping them to function in the 21st century as informed, productive, and responsible citizens. We recognize that in order to properly nurture gifted and talented students, we need to approach their needs in a very special way because their needs are very special and unique to them. Gifted and talented learners share many traits that help them to be successful academically. For example, they are able to acquire and retain information quickly and easily. They're inquisitive. They enjoy problem solving, conceptualizing abstract concepts, and synthesizing information. They're creative and innovative. They're able to intensely concentrate on tasks. They have strong senses of humor, are high energy, and often are incredibly sensitive, empathetic, and they have a strong desire for acceptance. However, Isaac Newton has taught us that every action has an equal and opposite reaction, and this third law of motion can certainly also be applied to these common characteristics of gifted learners in the sense that many of these wonderful traits can also have a downside. For example, the intense concentration that they're able to use for tasks can distract from other learning that might need to happen. Additionally, the advanced sense of humor might not be able to be understood by students of the same age. Much of these downsides are due to something called asynchronous development. Asynchronous development refers to the concept that gifted students often reach recognized milestones of development on schedules that are unique to them. And while this accelerated development can lead to many wonderful achievements, especially with academics, a negative result can be that their development is out of sync with the expectations of society. What's important for us to note, though, is that we at Cooper recognize that each area of development is unique for each student. And while some areas are accelerated, we also know that some areas might be delayed or seem delayed as compared to other developmental areas. We recognize that this is one area that makes gifted and talented students especially unique, and our approach to educating them needs to consider this as well. Another struggle that gifted and talented students might face is the desire for perfectionism. Advanced students often have very high expectations for themselves. They can easily succumb to stress, anxiety, or depression, and sometimes they can be reluctant to collaborate with others, especially when they know that their own individual work is often quite good. Having that trust to work interdependently with others can be a challenge. Another unique need of advanced academic learners is their tendency to avoid risk. Many of these students are not used to struggling, and they don't want to fail. When they come to us in middle school, the increased level of rigor, the need for abstract thinking, and directions that are purposefully open to interpretation might frustrate them to begin with. We know that this is going to be a transition for them, and we have strategies put in place to help them be successful. Gifted and talented students also face some challenges from a social perspective. One of these is extreme sensitivity to criticism and peer rejection due to heightened awareness of emotions. And related to this is a struggle to find the right peer group. It's important for us to keep in mind that these students need to find peers on an intellectual level, an interest level, and a social level. Now, in thinking about these different challenges that we just discussed, there are lots of ways that we are able to support our students. So let's go back to the concept of asynchronous development. With asynchronous development, we need to be able to recognize that our students are able to achieve at different levels in different areas. And ways that we're able to help them with this transition is that we offer lots of choice in their learning. This way, students are able to pick areas that are of interest to them or areas that they feel very strongly about whenever they are studying topics that might not be their area of strength. Additionally, we work very hard to incorporate the arts into our studies, whether it be acting out concepts, whether it be creating a song to understand a new idea, whether it be being consumers of the arts. We do try to work this into our curriculum as much as possible. And finally, we work very, very closely with our guidance department and our level 4 counselor in order to help students who might need a little extra boost, especially with areas of social and emotional maturity. Then we look at the need of perfectionism. And this is something that Cooper as a whole works very, very hard to combat with our students. And the way that we do this is by emphasizing excellence instead of perfection. We put a strong focus on 21st century skills. These include collaboration, cooperation, creating, and communicating. And we set very high standards for our students, but we provide them with direction and guidance within their zone of proximal development in order to help them have excellent results. We do not search for perfection, but instead we push our students to be excellent. Similarly, when we encounter risk avoidance, what we try to really emphasize is that we are not going to be assigning easy tasks because we don't learn through ease. However, what we do learn through is rigor. What's important for us to note is that there's a big difference between work that is hard and work that is rigorous. Rigorous work puts an emphasis on reflection and revision. We're thinking in complex ways. We are delving deeply into topics. We're not necessarily looking at more information or piling on more homework or requiring longer papers, but instead we're pushing students to think at a rigorous level. With all of this, we really encourage our students to find the love in their learning because that's what it's really about. We also focus on learning as a process, not just an end product from which we receive a letter grade. So by providing students with rigorous work and helping them along the way, we hope to help them feel comfortable taking academic risks and learning through that process. From a social standpoint, when we look at the sensitivity to criticism and peer rejection, we look at it from a twofold perspective. On one sense, from the personal angle, we help students own their giftedness. We promote a school culture that embraces learning and that is proud of academic achievement. And for our students, we want them and we encourage them to support each other in their learning and to be proud of what they've accomplished. Additionally, we know that the only way to have a friend is to be one, and we recognize that not all students are able to naturally grasp communication skills, so we really work on how we interact with each other in order to be kind and to love each other in our learning journey. And finally, to help students find the right peer group in that intellectual sense, interest sense, and social sense, we have several wonderful options built into every school day. Because our level 4 students are grouped together in English, science, and history, and they're often grouped with many similarly achieving students in their math classes depending on the level that they've selected, the students are able to find intellectual peers and to be able to challenge each other in their learning on a very common level. Additionally, they have opportunities to find interest-based peer groups in their electives and the clubs that they opt to participate in after school. And finally, social outlets are available through physical education classes where there's a whole mix of kids in the group and during their lunch periods. So by finding the right peer group, our level 4 students are able to be successful. Now, in keeping all of this in mind, collaboration is truly the key. This involves a partnership between teachers, the counselor, and the home. At the heart of this is our students. We truly want the best for them, but we can't do it alone. And this is where we very much appreciate the support that we receive at home. Now, in order to help support your students, we have some suggestions. Number one is to support the school's messages, particularly about the difference between excellence and perfection, and with encouraging academic risk-taking, recognizing that learning is a process and not an end product. Additionally, by encouraging the development of positive interests, you're able to help your student own his or her giftedness. Also, de-stress. Recognize that there's much, much, much more to life than just school. So by having de-stressing activities together in order to support a healthy lifestyle, you are certainly helping your child in more ways than you know. And finally, promoting a positive environment at home helps everyone to keep that stress level down and to feel comfortable and confident in the learning that's happening. Thank you so much for joining us for our session on how we meet the needs socially and emotionally of our gifted learners at Cooper. If you have questions about the Level 4 program, please feel free to reach out to Principal Arlene Randall and our Level 4 counselor, Jill Donnelly. We look forward to welcoming your learner to the Cooper family.